What's going on, and welcome to the next module in Persuasion Hacks Masterclass. And today we are going to talk about power words. Are you excited? Are you ready to get started? What are those? Those are some of those yes ladder words, right? Or questions, right? Okay, so there are there are a number of words in the English language that are extremely powerful. So powerful, in fact, that they will actually speak to our conscious mind without our or speak to our subconscious mind without our conscious mind even recognizing that they are there, right? And so some of these words, so they did an experiment with. Okay, let me first tell you how I learned about these words before we get into it. I remember when I used to work at T-Mobile, and I was a sales rep, right? And when I was there, I really wanted to be good at my job, but I cared more about taking care of the customer than I did about hitting my quota, right? But I still did really well. I was considered the top sales rep at my store for, certain months and things like that. I got what's called a winner's circle award. But the biggest struggles were like customers didn't want insurance, and there were certain things that, like, there was always the flavor of the month when I was there, and they would push the flavor of the month and then they would switch to something different, right? And so sometimes customers didn't like that flavor. That was one problem. And then the other problem that I really had internally is sometimes I felt like I was forcing things onto customers, because I had to hit the quota, or because I had to, meet the number, or whatever it was. And so it always was like some BS, right? And I remember one day I was like sitting there, and I was selling a cell phone to this older lady. She was probably in her late 60s, early 70s, and she's buying this flip phone. And this flip phone is literally like $25 full retail price for this flip phone. And I was so close to hitting my insurance number, right? All you guys know what cell phone insurance is, because you probably have it or don't have it, right? But you've been offered it at some point. And so I'm sitting there, and if I sell her the cell phone insurance, it's the last day of the month. If I sell it to her, I hit my quota. If I don't, that will knock down my percentage enough to make me not hit it, right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like having this internal debate, and my heart is telling me don't do it, and my head is telling me do it. And the reason my heart is telling me don't do it is because this lady, if she were to lose her phone, the cell phone insurance is $10 a month, right? And if she were to lose her phone, she would have to pay $25 to replace a $25 phone, right? And I was like, there's no way I'm doing this shit, man. So I literally walked into the back. I asked my manager for the phone. I said, I'm not selling insurance on this phone. I refuse. I'm not doing it. I was like, I don't care if I don't hit my quota. I'm not going to do it, man. I'm not going to do it just to hit the number. I'm not going to sell my soul to freaking meet my metrics at this job, right? I was pissed off. I was mad because I knew I had just failed. I had just failed hitting my number. But on the flip side, I knew I was doing the right thing. And so I went back out, sold her the phone, didn't do the insurance. I told her, look, you don't need it, because she even asked about it. I said, you don't need it. You'll actually spend more money paying $10 a month than if you were to just buy the same phone again. And so after that, I kind of decided, I was like, you know what, man, I got to be better at getting the people that this means much, much more for, like the people that are buying iPhones and Galaxies and all this stuff. I got to make sure that those people are walking away with the insurance, right? And so what I did is I went and started studying all this marketing stuff. I started studying the Wolf of Wall Street guy, Jordan Belfort. I started buying books like Pitch Anything, the Ultimate Sales Guide, or whatever, I forget. I bought Tony Robbins' program on sales. I started buying all these things, but I started getting into persuasion, and I found this guy, Kevin Hogan, who is a NLP mentalist type guy, and he teaches persuasion, and he's written like 28 books on persuasion. And he had a video, and he was talking about power words, and I had never really heard power words before. And when I watched this video, I went back to T-Mobile and I started testing them and using them, and literally I became like a master. I literally became a master. If I wanted someone to do something or get something, I started using these words, and it literally helped me. I think I hit my insurance number like the next 8 months until I quit that job, simply by implementing these tactics along with some other stuff into my process. And so that's what I'm going to show you. These words are so powerful that you can use them to subconsciously get people to do things. And so the first word is because. Anytime you tell someone something or ask someone for something, you want to give them a reason why. And here's the crazy thing. It doesn't matter what the reason is, right? So you can walk up to someone on the street and say, hey, can you rub my shoulder really quick because it's hurting really bad, right? And when they hear the word because, everything that comes after that they don't even consciously pay attention to. It literally is like a shut off trick for the conscious, or shut off switch for the conscious mind, that makes people bypass and go along with what you asked for. And the experiment they did on this is they would go to these lines of people waiting for copy machines back in the 70s, and they would have someone walk up in line and say, hey, can I cut? And that was the only thing they said, right? And they would get compliance, so people would let them cut just for asking. People would let them cut. I think it was like 42% of the time. And then later they would go up and ask people, hey, can I cut because I need to make copies? And then they would get compliance from like 42% bumped up to almost 90% just by adding the word because and giving a reason, right? And everyone else that was in the line also needed to make copies, right? So it didn't matter what came after because, it was just that this word is so powerful. So because is the first one. The next one is only, okay? So they redid this experiment in different ways, in different arenas. And what they did is they added the word only. So they would say, so they tested the because, and then they tested adding only to it. So they would say, hey, can I cut in line because I need to make copies? It'll only take a second, right? And only increased compliance almost to 100% in different experiments that they've done. So what does only do? Only minimizes the ask in people's mind, right? So even though you might be asking for something big, right? If you kind of throw it out, hey, can you lend me $500 because I have to take care of my car payment? It'll only be a few days until I pay you back, right? That little sequence of wording does something in people's subconscious mind, right? It creates triggers that make people go along with you. It's pretty crazy. Now, obviously, nothing works 100% of the time. Nothing is foolproof, but they're just powerful things to know. The next one is now. And so why is now so powerful? Well, think back to when you were a little kid, right? And you would ask your mom, you would want to stay up later than you were supposed to, watching whatever you were watching on TV or playing video games. And you would say, Mom, can I just stay up a little bit longer? She's like, no, it's time for bed. And you'd be like, please, can I just stay up? And then she would say what? No, go to bed now, right? And when she said now with that emphasis on it, you knew that was it. It's time to go to bed now, right? So now is another word that's powerful because it speaks to our subconscious mind, remembering back to when we were little kids. So you can throw it in. You can actually throw it in very subtly, and they've done tests on this with copywriting and in videos and in sales messages, where you're like, hey, yeah, just sign the paper now, and we'll get started in the next few days, right? You throw in that little now, and people will be more likely to comply based on metrics that they've tested in the past. The next one is you. So Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People said that a person's name is their sweetest sound in the world, right? People love talking about themselves. People's number one subjects are them. And so how can you use this? Well, obviously, if you're doing videos like I'm doing now, I can't say your name, right? But I can refer to you as you, right? And when I say you, your brain automatically knows that I'm talking about you. So when I say you, you know that I'm talking about your name, right? Whatever your name is. So you is a powerful powerful word because it tells people that this is meant for them, right? Hey, when I go through persuasion hacks, you're going to learn exactly how you can 10x your business just by using simple persuasive principles. All right, and this is going to be great for you, and it only is a couple minutes a day. And if you do it now, it's going to change the way you sell forever because these things are extremely powerful, right? See how you can throw this stuff together? And then the next one is imagine. So why is imagine so powerful? Well, I want you to imagine a red ball, a little red ball, and I want you to imagine that red ball spinning, right? Spinning super fast. And then I want you to imagine that it turns into a square, and this square is purple. And I want you to imagine that this square is spinning towards you super fast, 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 and then it stops. And then you got it stops where the four corners are each facing different ways. So you got two of them facing you, you got two of them facing the side, so you can't even tell it's a square, right? It looks more like a diamond. And then it starts spinning round like a top, right? So as I'm describing that, how many times did you see what I was describing? Right? So what does the word imagine do? It speaks to the subconscious mind and takes people from reality into another place, into the mind's eye. And even if the person doesn't want to, it's a subconscious trigger. Hey, imagine that you were selling to your ideal customer. Who are they? What do they look like? Right? You start imagining, your brain takes this as it's called an embedded command, right? It's a command to your subconscious mind to do something, and it's not a choice. It's no different than me saying, hey, don't think of a pink elephant. Don't see a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant. Do not think of a pink elephant. Stop thinking about a pink elephant, right? Your brain can't help but think about pink elephants. It's all based on this word imagine. And then the last one is free. And they say that free is the most powerful word in the English dictionary. It gets people to pay attention, right? Free is so powerful because it gets people to pay attention, and it gets people to take ridiculous actions sometimes. You know what's crazy is people will go stand in a line for 12 hours to get something for free, when they could literally buy that same thing for $5 or $6 any other day. I've seen it one time. I went to this place called Blaze Pizza because they were giving away free pizzas for their grand opening, and the line was like 45, 50 minutes long, and people were just waiting there to get this free pizza, even though they're in a shopping center with like 12 other food places, and even though they could come back the very next day and have no wait in line and buy a pizza for under $10, the free component of it was so powerful that you had people waiting 45, 50 minutes just to place an order. These are super powerful if you learn to just use them in your everyday speech. And in all honesty, I kind of got away from them a little bit when I left the cell phone company, and the reason is because I started studying all this other stuff. And you know, one thing that happens in this game and in life in general is you forget stuff that made you really good, right? So you grow, and then you forget all the things you did to get to that place. And sometimes you got to go backtrack and say, how did I get there? How was I so good? And I'll tell you, for me, these power words were key. These are why I got Winner Circle Awards. These are why I got recruited to be an outside sales rep. These are why I was at 356% to plan when I left my last job. It was because I was using these things. And it only takes a few minutes a day. And if you start now, you can only imagine how good you'll be a few years from now. And look, this stuff is free, man. You actually got this as a bonus as part of Offer University. You see how easy this is, man. It's just a game. But no, for real, these are extremely powerful. They work. Go out and test it, right? Don't be scared of rejection. Just go out and try it out. Hey, ask somebody, hey, can you do this for me because of this? And see how much compliance you get. And you're not going to get good numbers if you ask one person or 10 people. Ask 100 people for something and then say, wow, 75 people said yes, right? Or whatever it is, whatever the numbers are. But that's how this works, man. It works by becoming good at it, making it natural. Tonality is a whole nother thing that we'll talk about in a later lesson, but how you say things is just as important as the words you're saying. So don't think that if you say, hey, now, and you sound like a little kid going through puberty, or can you imagine? The way you say things is also important. So I don't want you to discredit that, but understand these words are powerful. With that, hope you enjoyed this lesson. I will see you on the next one. Peace.